On est censé... Normalement, ça va être un bon festin. Je les bouffons, je mange gratuitement, ils vont me l'offrir. Ça va, j'ai juste mis 2500 de skin. Les bouffons. Ok. Ok.
A relic of the old world. Ready your men, Captain. We will only get one chance.
C'est pas fort.
And remember, when you hear the whispers, call for help. Do not attack.
When you hear the whispers.
Ah, c'est très faible ici aussi, hein.
It's Dorman, right?
Yeah.
Then Dorman, shut your damn mouth. Ugh, why do I always get stuck with these rookies?
Hey, the kid's got a mean cleave. Give him a chance.
Quiet.
Hmm?
C'est dégueulasse. Mais c'est dégueulasse comme on veut. Là, je sais pas si on peut dire que Diablo ils sont max aux animations maintenant. Hein. C'est clean, hein. C'est très très clean.
Captain. Rookie can't even lift his own sword. Captain Oren? Captain?
Oh oh.
It's here. Rain! Send the signal!
What the fuck?
Rain! On my back, Rookie! Blade up!
Come on! I'm ready! I'm ready! It's a man!
No, it's not!
Oh, c'est lui!
Run!
C'est Voldemort.
Stop! Humanity isn't ready.
On your feet, lad.
Sir, the captain,
You'll be fine. Here.
Plus one Wedgton. Oh. C'est pour l'Atlas, j'imagine. Oh, c'est la graine de corruption, je sais pas quoi.
Get the body.
Stop.
Oh, mais c'est le compte de l'acte 1, je viens de trigger. Oh là là, je viens de tilter. C'est lui.
Don't know what you have on
Your kind no longer control this world. We cannot destroy your body, it's true. But you will watch as we destroy everything you have built. Bind him! Feed. Grow, my child. I'll make sure you can eat your fill.
Dans le mec de l'acte 1 de PE2 qu'on a vu sur les vidéos. Oh, c'est stylé. Fit. Fit. C'est dégueulasse, mais j'aime beaucoup. Ça me met bien.
Hi,
Clean.
I'm Jonathan Rogers,
Très, très
Game
clean.
Director on Path of Exile 2. Now, Path of Exile 2 is going into early access in around 2 weeks on December the 6th. But even though it's early access, this isn't just some small taste. The game is huge. In this live stream, we're going to be introducing everything you can expect.
Oh shit.
So without further ado, let's roll the gameplay trailer.
Existence is a thing of beauty, precious, but impermanent.
Oh, c'est ma queen.
Life and death are mortal enemies, and yet bound to one another. The continuation of life must be protected at all costs. Some have said
Fuck.
my methods are brutal. To this, I say, there can be no salvation without sacrifice.
Non, non, c'est bon. Là, ça va le rythme. C'est low level. Ouais, c'est dans les actes, mais. Ouais, ils sont plus que 6, c'est bien ça. Witch. C'est une ascendance, ça, j'ai bien vu là. Qui avait l'air fire. OMG. Non mais les gars, le blasting ça va aller quand même. Vous avez... Oh, what the fuck?
We are
Ouais, la frise, le temps.
and I will do what I must.
Oh shit! C'est le nouvel Atlas? Oh! Oh, ça m'a l'air très stylé. Ouah, c'est beau. Oh, ouah, c'est beau. Oh. Ah oui, il y a 2 flasques, vous avez vu? Il y a que 2 flasques, mais il y a bien la refonte. Non, les gars, ça va aller. Oh. Ok, c'est trop stylé.
Those who obsess with death, let them soon be acquainted with it.
Oh, c'est ça les mains?
Now, as you just saw, even in early access, Path of Exile 2
Ew.
is a big game. It's actually been 5 years since we announced PoE 2, and over that time we've revealed a lot, but it's been in bits and pieces. It's pretty hard to keep track of it all, so today we're going to do a full rundown of all the content that will be available at the start of early access.
Il a présenté tout le contenu qu'il y aura
Classes,
en
character
access.
progression systems, and for the first time, a full overview of the endgame.
Et une
This is
présentation
going to be
complète
a
de
big
l'endgame,
one,
ça c'est
so
big.
get comfortable.
Ça c'est big!
20 years,
Présentation de
Rayclass
l'endgame.
has been free from any
Ça avait l'air
sources
très
of
stylé, hein.
corruption. But the Count of Ogham, tempted by promises of power, intends to harness it once more.
Voilà, ok, c'est
The
ça. Ouais.
dead are rising.
C'est bien la graine de la
Monsters
corruption,
are
du coup.
mutating, and madness is
Et il
spreading.
veut la cultiver pour
Under the
son
dark
bien.
influence of corruption, the Count doles out sentences of death to any who would question him.
C'est bien ça. Stylé.
And this is where you find yourself at the start of PoE 2. Explore the dark forests of Ogham. Traverse the barren
Non. Non. What the fuck? F. Ok, c'est pas moi, c'est pas
plains
moi.
of the Vesteri
C'est pas
desert,
moi, c'est pas moi, c'est pas moi, c'est pas moi, c'est pas moi. C'est pas moi.
ancient Val City.
C'est pas moi. 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 C'est pas moi.
Challenging monsters, hidden runes, lost camps and treasures,
Non, what the fuck, j'ai dit?
roaming merchants, and of course, unique bosses. No two areas are the same. It falls to you to track down the seed of corruption, the
Ouais, la
source
graine de
of all
corruption,
this
voilà.
devastation.
C'est ça.
On the way, you'll face fearsome monsters, meet strange characters,
Il y a Blizzard qui
forge
dédosse.
unlikely bonds, and uncover lost civilizations. But first, you'll need to pick a class.
Ok. Les classes.
Now, early access will initially have 6 classes available.
Ok,
Let's have a
c'est
look at
classe.
them.
Ah, ok, bon. C'est compris.
The
Bon,
monk
ce sera
is a
6 et 3
fast
du coup.
and
Compris.
furious melee fighter.
Voilà, bon, attends, je vais
He
actualiser
dashes
vite
in
fait.
and out of combat and has a variety of skills to mix.
Ok, big. Big, je suis pas sûr. Hein. What the fuck, GGG? Ok.
To get new skills, you will first need to find skill gems. Using a
YouTube
skill
livestream.
gem will open the gem cutting menu,
Tu
which
penses?
shows all the active skills available in PoE 2. You can choose an existing.
Non, ils ont pas. Technical difficulties. FF! FF! C'est pas moi! Je tiens à dire, c'est pas moi! FF! FF! Problème technique, check. On va faire ça... Comment je faisais d'habitude? Je faisais comme ça. Problème technique, check. Putain, small indie company, come on, GGG. Attends, je vais mettre là d'ailleurs. Easy, +1. Easy. Attends, du coup, attends. Du coup, on peut faire des trucs, parce qu'on a vu Rework of Flask. On a vu des ascendances, mais on n'a pas vu la liste. On a vu l'endgame, on peut pas dire si c'est vraiment totalement différent. On a vu un teaser du Pinnacle Boss. On a vu... Qu'est-ce qu'on a vu? Les builds, ça avait l'air pas mal. Hein. Le peu de gameplay qu'on a vu, ça avait l'air pas mal. Avec le Giga Chain, etc. En vrai, ça avait l'air lourd. Ça avait l'air vraiment lourd. Endgame, on a vu, ouais, mais c'était pas vraiment un nous. On sait pas les mécaniques, tu vois. C'est peut-être très similaire. Donc c'est compliqué à cocher. On verra quand il en parlera tout à l'heure. Il y a peut-être eu un assassin, ouais. Il y a peut-être eu. On a vu les subs du chat, c'est vrai. GG, merci, merci. T'as qui a des DOS, sérieux? Putain, ça se fait pas. Après, classe manquante. Peut-être qu'on verra les noms au moins. Est-ce que je peux F5 pour fixer le son distordu? Il y a du son distordu? Il y a du son distordu? Oh, ils remettent là? Il y a du son distordu? Oh, ils remettent là? Il y a du son distordu? Oh, ils remettent là? Bon, ça a pas l'air distordu, non?
There are 21 active skills for quarter stage.
Okay, let's go.
So this just scratches the surface of the options that you have. By endgame, you'll be dashing from pack to pack, spewing where you find yourself at the start of PoE 2.
GGG!
Explore the dark forests of Ogham. Traverse the barren plains of the Vesteri Desert. And delve into the jungle ruins of Exile,
Bon, c'est pas
an
grave, on
ancient
remet.
Vaal
On
city.
repart.
There are challenging monsters, hidden runes, lost camps and treasures, roaming merchants, and of course, unique bosses. No two areas are the same. It falls to you to track down the seed of corruption, the source of all this devastation.
Ew, what the fuck?
On the way, you'll face
C'est
fearsome
dégueulasse, mais c'est trop
monsters,
bien.
meet strange characters, forge
trop.
unlikely bonds, and uncover lost civilizations. But first,
Ok,
you'll
les
need to
classes.
pick a
Du coup, il
class.
disait 6 classes pour la sortie, 12 pour la release.
Now, early access will initially have 6 classes available.
6.
Let's have a look at them. The Monk is a fast and furious melee fighter. He dashes in and out of
Melee
combat and has
speed.
mechanics that involve building up and keeping momentum. Like all classes in PoE2, you'll want to use a wide variety of
ce jauge
skills to
bleue à
mix and
gauche.
match different combos.
T'as vu ou pas?
To get new skills, you will first need to find skill
C'est
gems.
yes.
Using a skill gem will open the gem cutting menu, which shows all the active skills available in PoE2. You can choose an existing skill to
Mon
level
esprit à
up,
droite.
or choose to engrave a new one. Since this is a level 7 skill gem, even if you pick a new skill, it will immediately be level 7, so there's no harm in
Ça, on
trying out
savait, on
something
l'a
new.
vu tout à l'heure.
The monk primarily uses the quarterstaff. There are 3 schools of martial arts: lightning, ice, and wind. But don't think you have to stick to just one.
Le vent a
The
l'air
best
facile.
combos are going to involve mixing
Franchement,
elements of all 3. Let's try killing palm. Like many monk skills, this can
Oh,
be
c'est
used
le
to
dash.
quickly take advantage of a specific situation.
Ah ouais,
If there's
c'est le
an
dash qui
enemy
kill.
on low life, you can use killing palm to dash to them
Ouais.
and kill them instantly. This will
Okay,
provide
c'est,
a power charge.
J'ai l'impression que c'est
Then
encore
we can
plus
use
beau
a
visuellement
different
que ce
skill
qu'on a
to
vu tout à l'heure.
consume that power charge for a much more devastating attack. The monk also has powerful combo skills. Tempest Bell, for example, is a skill that places a giant resonating bell. Hitting the bell causes it to ring, dealing damage to all enemies around
Ça,
it.
la belle a l'air trop cool.
You can also do things like freeze or
stab,
shock
ça
the
fait
bell,
une
which will add elemental damage to the strikes.
C'est magnifique.
The monk also has a variety of abilities to empower his staff. If an enemy is close to being stunned, you can use Staggering Palm to punch them down. After that, any attack you do will shoot out wind projectiles.
Ah, c'est trop stylé. Le combo des deux.
There are
est trop
21
cool.
active skills for quarterstaves, so this just scratches the surface of the options that you have. By endgame, you'll be dashing from pack to pack, spewing projectiles and obliterating screens
Imagine
of
avec
enemies
beaucoup
with
plus de
huge
damage,
combo
qui blast et
attacks.
qui one tap tout. Non, c'est bon.
Now,
bien.
if you like a style of melee that's a little slower but hits much harder, then the warrior is for you. He pounds the ground with big chunky attacks and can shrug off the hits of small enemies with large amounts of armor. Even though the mace slams are slow, you never lose control. Longer
Ça,
attacks
c'est
can be
bien.
retargeted as you go, and if you find yourself committed to a long attack, you can dodge roll out of it at any time.
Ah, tu peux cancel.
Among the skill options for
Mid-animation.
maces, you will find a variety of slams, fire attacks, war cries, and shield skills. Here, I'm going to
Ancestral
slam the
warrior
ground,
totem.
rending it apart with lines of fire.
Wow, c'est
Any
tellement
slam
beau
skill will
de
then
faire.
cause these fissures to erupt with lava. I
Wow.
can even run through them with a skill like Stampede to do huge amounts of damage. The warrior can
Non, mais
also
putain,
use
les
war
gens qui
cries,
savent
which
vite
can
taper.
empower your next skill. Seismic Cry, for example, will double any slams from your next attack. The Stampede counts as a slam, so I can double that for even more craziness.
Ah, les combos.
If you want to go a little faster
Continuer
and be
avec
a
ça,
little
c'est
more
très stylé,
defensive, equip a shield. In PoE 2, you can raise your shield at any time to block all damage from the front, even spells.
Ah, tu peux bloquer activement
While
avec le
holding
shield.
up your
Ça, c'est
shield,
cool
your
aussi.
stun meter will build as you take damage, so be careful. If it reaches 100%, your stance will break and you will be vulnerable.
Ah, ok.
Some enemies also have unblockable attacks, which are
passer
indicated
à
by this
l'infini,
red
quoi.
flash.
T'as une
If you see one of these
une
coming,
jauge
make sure
d'endurance,
to
quoi.
dodge out of the way. Using a shield also gives you access to shield skills, like Shield Charge, which allows you to charge towards enemies and stun them. While
Okay.
charging, you're also blocking the whole time, so you have full damage immunity from the front. The warrior also has access to totems. Some totems have built-in abilities, like Shockwave Totem, which can be placed to stun nearby enemies and trigger aftershocks like those from the earthquake. But you can also get Ancestral
Ah ouais,
Warrior
petit
Totems, which
figure,
allow
la
you to use
Shockwave
any
point
slam
IQ.
skill in your
C'est
repertoire.
très stylé ça.
This is a meta skill, which means that it's a skill you can put other skills into. I can take a slam like Sunder and socket it into my Ancestral Warrior Totem.
Bon, c'est ce qu'on avait
Now
sur
when I
PoE,
summon
je sais
him,
plus comment ça
he'll
s'appelle.
sit there and slam the monsters from a distance.
Oh, c'est marrant.
There are
So
20
close.
active skills for maces, so there's a lot more to try out. But by endgame, you're going to be dropping hammers from
Oh,
the
ça donne
sky,
tellement
moving
envie.
fearlessly into combat, and separating the very earth you stand on.
Oh, wow. Ça donne tellement envie.
Time for some ranged attacks. The ranger is primarily about the bow, but we wanted to make sure that she feels agile as well. In PoE 2, you can shoot while moving. Combined with all the skills the ranger has that allow you to jump around, you will have a lot of mobility in combat.
Knockback.
Bow skills have a variety of lightning, poison, ice,
t'as pas mal
and
de
physical
mobilité.
attacks.
Classique en dur,
Lightning
quoi.
attacks bounce around between targets. You can also stick lightning arrows in the ground which explode when hit by the bouncers, or electrocute enemies to take them out of combat.
Les combos sont toujours cool. Hein.
Ice attacks allow you to slow and freeze enemies to keep them away from you.
Après, y a pas eu
Using
un seul
poison
combo
not only
qui
can you
m'a
slowly damage your enemies from
dégoûté.
afar, but also grow some interesting plants.
Pourquoi tu peux les détonate en plus les bulles?
With 21 bow skills and all the mobility
Ouais.
and combo tools the
Big.
ranger has, you can take advantage of every situation. By endgame, you'll be creating hundreds of arrows, be they falling from the sky, bouncing around between enemies, or spraying out of tornadoes.
Yeah.
You might have noticed in the bottom left of the screen that the flask slots look a little different. In PoE 2, you have one dedicated life flask slot
Merci.
and one mana flask slot.
Merci.
Flasks gain
Merci.
charges as you kill enemies,
Enfin.
and typically allow you to heal 6 or 7 times if they're full. But that's not the only
Set
thing you can use
use.
charges for.
Une flasque pleine,
Charms
c'est
are a
beaucoup quand
new
même.
item type that will automatically defend you from various
wow.
debuffs or damage types.
Ouh, wow.
Having trouble with getting frozen?
Okay.
Equip a Thawing Charm. When it's fully charged, it will make you immune to freeze for 3 seconds if you get frozen. To recharge them, just kill more monsters. You can gain more slots for charms by upgrading your belt.
Oh.
The mercenary wields a
Okay,
crossbow that can
insane.
be loaded with different ammo types, offering
Insane.
versatility, power, and mobility.
En changeant ta
All
belt, tu
classes
peux
in
avoir
Path
plus
of
de
Exile
sortes
2
de
can
charme
be
et les
controlled
charmes
with
te donnent des
WASD,
immunités
which makes
sur
this
certaines
class
conditions.
play exactly like a shooter. With a crossbow, you will find skills that work like shotguns, sniper rifles, assault rifles,
Wow.
and even grenade launchers. But not only that, there are a wide variety of more interesting elemental ammos too. It's very fast to switch between ammo types, so long as you already have them loaded, which makes the mercenary able to combo abilities together for devastating effect. Use Glacial Bolt to create walls of ice to separate enemies, then switch to Fragmentation rounds to explode the ice, dealing massive AoE damage. If I come across an armored enemy, I could use armor-piercing rounds to break their armor, and then high-velocity rounds to take them down. Or perhaps I could fire a gas grenade to poison enemies before detonating the cloud with an explosive shot for massive damage. If you want to call in some suppressing fire, you can summon artillery ballistas.
Oh, les balistas, c'est
These have a
tellement
minimum
cool.
range, so you'll want to prepare your position carefully before moving in. There are 22 active skills for crossbows. By endgame, you'll be calling destruction down from the sky as you litter the battlefield with grenades and pepper your enemies with your automatic shotgun. If you're looking to take a back seat and let your minions do the work, then the witch should be your choice. She can call forth hordes of undead monsters to fight for her while casting powerful chaos spells that debilitate her enemies. Occult skills are some of the most varied in the game, with skeletons, noxious spells, specialty minions, curses, and sacrificial magic. Before we talk about minions, we'll have to talk about a new resource in Path of Exile 2 called Spirit. This is a Spirit Gem, which allows you to pick from a range of persistent skills. All classes have a variety of these skills which can add some very interesting effects, like Arctic Armor, which does cold damage to enemies that hit you, or Raging Spirits, which summon fiery skulls each time you cast a fire spell. For the Witch, though, we'll want to be using our Spirit to create permanent minions. These minions will be revived automatically when they die, so you don't have to worry about resummoning them all the time.
Vraiment, le summon auto, c'est incroyable.
Here, I'm using the skill screen to allocate which minions I would like in my horde. You can see the spirit cost of each one. Skeletal warriors are cheap, but weak, useful for tanking damage and distracting enemies. But I want more heavy hitters in my army, so I'm going to unsummon some warriors and instead add skeletal arsonists. Permanent minions come with special active abilities called command skills. You can order these guys to detonate your own minions for even more damage and area of effect. If you want a bigger army, you'll need a scepter. This new weapon type is imbued with even more spirit, allowing you to summon even more friends. And if you want an even bigger army than that, you can take advantage of corpses to summon true hordes of minions. But what can a witch do while her army is at work? Well, she has a range of chaos spells to spread disease amongst your enemies, or bone skills to impale them. Or, you know, you could curse them to make them weaker so your horde can take them down. There are 25 active occult skills. By the endgame, you'll be the leader of a fearsome army of the dead, consuming everything in its path.
Attends, y'a quoi là? Y'a 9, 13,
The sorceress bends the elements to her will, using them to unleash devastation on her foes. This classic spellcaster weaves a flurry of elemental magic from afar. The elemental skills have everything you might expect and more. Fireballs, icy explosions, lightning storms, you get the idea. Each spell is unique and has many different ways to build and combo with others, even between different elements. For example, Flame Wall conjures a burning line that not only damages enemies, but also empowers all projectiles that pass through it. If you place a wall and fire lightning sparks through it, they'll gain extra fire damage. It's a good idea to take advantage of the ability to automatically swap weapons when you use certain skills. Having a special staff with bonuses to fire skills and another with bonuses to lightning skills can really power up a combo like this. The sorceress can also take advantage of powerful trigger gems. For example, you could grab the Cast and Ignite gem and use it with Firestorm. As you ignite enemies, a counter will go up in the top left corner. When it's full, a Firestorm will automatically be cast at the enemy that was ignited.
c'est l'ancienne Firestorm d'ailleurs.
There are 25 active elemental skills. By endgame, you'll be firing off projectiles left and right as you rain down elemental storms on your foes.
Là les gars,
now, those are the characters that will be available at the start of early access, but we will be adding 6 more character classes with just as many skills and options as these.
mais les gars, c'est non, on a vu du gameplay en acte.
There's one more important thing to mention about skills. Even though we talk about them as belong to each class, in reality there are no restrictions. You can use all these skills on any class so long as you have the attributes. For example, a poison ranger might want to try out using occult curses to increase her poison damage. Or a monk might want to trigger elemental ice walls to use with his glacial cascade combo. The possibilities for cross-class combos are practically unlimited. We're looking forward to what kind of things you guys might find. Now, Path of Exile is a game known for build customization, and we haven't even scratched the surface of what is possible yet. So let's talk about support gems.
Ça, ok, bon, les
Path of Exile 2 has a system of support gems that can be combined with your active skills to dramatically change the way they work. If you find a support gem, then right-clicking it will open up this screen. Here you will find a variety of recommended support gems for each of your skills that you can pick between. For example, this is a multiple projectiles support gem and can be used to add multiple projectiles to any skill.
Damage, less ice.
Normally, when you fire a grenade, it'll look like this. But if we add multiple projectiles, then you get 3 of them. Once you have the gem, you can also freely move it between any of the skills on your character. If you want to have a multi-shot sniper rifle instead, then simply move the gem over to your high-velocity round skill. Generally speaking, if it sounds like a support gem should work with a skill, then it will work. So it's a good idea to experiment. Note that you can only have one of each support gem on your character, so you'll want to think carefully about which supports can be used best with each skill for maximum damage. Now, if you want to stick to the recommendations, you should have a perfectly good time. But if you want to experiment a bit more, then uncheck that recommended button and you can see the full list of supports that will work with your skill. There are hundreds of support gems to choose from, and even we don't know the results of all the possible ways these can interact. Each skill can have up to 5 supports socketed into it, and if you're clever, you can come up with some pretty interesting ideas.
On l'avait pas vu, cette
Now,
monnaie
all of this
encore.
is just scratching the surface.
Oh oui, c'est
You
vrai.
can make frost vortexes, break people's armor, make minions explode, make skills repeat.
On savait que ça existait, mais on l'avait pas
Enemies
vu
set each other
encore.
on fire, cull enemies, or pin them to the ground. Supports let you drastically change the behavior of your skills and create your own unique build, or at least follow someone's OP build guide.
Oh.
So, speaking
Mon
of
build,
builds, let's
mon
talk
build.
about one of the most
Au moins
iconic
100 000
Path of
DPS
Exile
minimum.
systems, the passive skill tree. Yes, it's huge.
10 minutes par map,
There are
minimum.
over 1,500 nodes on there. Now, a
30
lot of
minutes par
people
boss.
open the tree and can get
Minimum.
a little intimidated at first, but try not to be scared. There are lots of options, but at its core, it's pretty simple. Each level you get 1 point to put into the tree. Each class starts at a different location, but they all share the same tree. Around your section of the tree, you'll find relevant bonuses for your character. You should be safe in the knowledge that there aren't many wrong choices here. Almost all the starting nodes will be useful for your character in some way. But if you do happen to make a choice you regret, you'll be able to respec any nodes you've taken by spending a little bit of gold.
Ça va. Après, c'est en early, c'est pas expansif, c'est comme actuellement là.
Now, the tree is generally divided up into clusters which have similar themes. In each cluster, you will find small nodes that give simple bonuses like increased damage, but the real power comes from notables. Notables normally have much more interesting bonuses, and they tend to care a lot more about how your build works and what skills you're using.
Ça, c'est classique.
For example, in the mercenary area of the tree, this one gives a 25% chance for crossbow skills to not consume a bolt.
Alors, c'est genre
And
25%
here's one that gives
de balles en
grenades a
plus.
chance to blow up a second time.
Oh, wow!
This one gives a chance for projectiles to rebound off terrain, as well as giving you some pierce chance to make
30%
that
de
more
chance de
likely.
pierce.
Note
C'est-à-dire que tu
that
peux
even
avoir...
though this is in the mercenary
Ça
section,
peut te
this
libérer
would work
pierce
with
du coup,
projectiles
au lieu de
from all
mettre pierce en
classes.
setup.
So there are often reasons to go to different areas of the tree.
Tu peux juste...
In order to get
Décider
between
de
these
prendre la gemme,
clusters, you
enfin,
will
le
generally
node,
have to allocate
et
nodes
libérer
in
une
the
gemme.
attribute highways.
Ah mais oui, ça a
Attribute
du
nodes allow you
sens,
to
vu
pick
que tu
which
peux avoir de
attribute you would
doublons.
like to use. So it's
Mais
very
oui.
easy to get points for any attribute
Ah,
that
mais
your
oui, c'est
gear
smart.
might need. You can change which attribute these nodes give you for half price at the respec vendor. In addition to notables, you will also find even larger passives called keystones. Keystones have both an upside and a downside, and often require changing your entire build to design around them. A great example is Giant's Blood, which allows you to wield two-hand weapons in a single hand that doubles the attribute requirements of them. You can use a two-hand mace with a shield, or even dual-wield them.
Ok, dude. Ok, dude. Je vais sûrement
Or how
faire
about
ça.
Mind Over Matter, which makes all damage go to your mana pool first before your life pool, but you lose 50% of your
All
mana.
damage.
Skills like these can be
Wait,
tough
all
to build
damage for
but if you're
mana?
up for the challenge, they can be
Ah mais
very
il y a moins de
rewarding.
mana. Il y a moins de mana. Ah, il y a moins de mana.
As we showed you earlier on the
Il y a moins de
Sorceress,
mana.
you can swap
Il y a
between
moins de
weapon
mana.
sets on the fly as you use certain skills. One of the new features in Path of Exile 2's passive tree is that you can choose to have your passive tree change as you switch between weapon sets to take advantage of specific bonuses on the tree. For the Sorceress, you might want to change between fire and lightning specialization. Or you could switch between one-hand and a two-hand setup in order to be able to block boss attacks while following up with heavy hits from your bigger mace. Or perhaps you could have a full curse setup on your witch to debuff enemies before switching to a chaos degen build for maximum damage. If you want to stick with just one weapon set, you can just use these specialization points as bonus points to invest however you like, but creative players will find plenty of opportunities with this system. You can get weapon specialization points throughout the campaign from optional bosses and quests. For example, if I manage to defeat the Crowbell, I'll get a weapon specialization book. There are lots of other permanent boosts available from the campaign too. On the map you can see icons that indicate the many optional encounters you can find. Some of them have permanent character boosts, and others have powerful items. If you're having trouble getting past a boss, it might be a good idea to explore and see what you can find. For example, if you defeat Blackjaw the Remnant, you'll gain a permanent increase to fire resistance. One of the most important finds are spirit bonuses. You can find the first one here in the canopy in Act 1. Defeat the boss in this area to acquire a permanent addition of spirit. The permanent buffs you gain from spirit are very powerful, and every class will find a use for them, so make sure you hunt down these upgrades. There's one in each act. Now we haven't even talked about the most important element of character progression, items. That's why we're all here, right? Items in Path of Exile can be broken down into 4 rarity groups: normal, magic, rare, and unique. One of the things you're going to want to do as you play through the campaign is upgrade the items you find, and you can do that with currency items. An Orb of Transmutation will allow you to upgrade a normal item to a magic item with 1 mod. You can then apply an Orb of Augmentation to add a second mod, then use a Regal Orb to add a third mod, and upgrade it to a rare. Finally, you can use some Exalted Orbs to add more mods to your rare to a total of 6 mods. One of the things we think is really important is to make these options available to use as you play. All the items that add mods are much more common than they were in Path of Exile 1, so that you can use them throughout your campaign playthrough. We want you to find things on the ground that can be crafted into upgrades much more frequently. As well as making the drop rates on these items much more common, you can also get them by disenchanting unwanted gear at the magic item vendor. If you disenchant magic items, you can build up to an Orb of Transmutation, and by disenchanting rares, you can build up to Regal Orbs. Another important area of crafting items in PoE 2 is sockets. Some items you find will have sockets that can have Ezomite runes placed in them that add more mods to the item. If I insert this Glacial rune into my helmet, it will give extra cold resistance. This is a great way to solve problems that you have with your build, like resistances or damage. If you find socketed items that you don't have a use for, you can take them to the salvage bench in town to work towards an Artificer's Orb. This will allow you to add sockets to your existing items. Body armors and two-hand weapons can have up to 2 sockets, while the rest of your armor and one-hand weapons can only have 1 socket. You can also salvage items with quality to create items like armor scraps or whetstones. These will allow you to increase the quality of your items for an up to 20% boost.
Oh, donc tu désenchantes, tu vends ou tu brises.
If you don't want to disenchant or salvage your items, you can always sell them for gold. Gold can be used to buy items from vendors, and we've tried to do a lot to make sure that the items they have for sale are actually useful. Every time you level up, they get more stock, so make sure to check back often. Other vendors offer a gamble. Pay a flat amount of gold and you'll get a random item of a specific type. This could be a great way to improve your gear, if you're lucky. Gold is also used to respec your passive skills. Take advantage of this system to experiment with your tree and rework it as required. The other thing you might want to use gold for is the currency exchange. This allows you to exchange currency items with other players on an open market, in exchange for a small gold fee. Now, all items in Path of Exile are freely tradable. We never bind anything to your character, except gold.
Ok, bon, d'accord, bon, ça change pas le trade alors.
Now, most gear in Path of Exile 2 is randomly generated, but there's another type that isn't. Uniques. They are especially rare, each with a handcrafted set of unusual mods which can dramatically change a character's build. They're not just better rare items, they can do much stranger things that can fundamentally change your character. Corpse Wade will make any corpses you run through explode into clouds of poison.
Okay.
The Sands of Silk is a body armor that changes your dodge roll into a blink, morphing you into sand as you teleport past your foes. And of course, some uniques are just pure hits of dopamine, like Quill Rain, which just turns your bow attacks into full auto by doubling your attack speed. Each unique is something that you can build your character around. We try to make sure that most unique items have a potential use at endgame, even if you find them early on. And as you can see, every single unique item comes with custom art to match.
Damn. I mean...
The last character
Oh
creation
shit,
system
okay.
that you can do
Ça,
during the
pardon.
campaign is Ascension.
Dis-moi qu'il y a 3 par classe.
Starting in Act 2, you will come across Ascension Trials.
Acte 2?
Tests that you must complete to unlock your Ascension class. We'll explain these trials soon, but first let's take a look at what Ascending can do for your character.
Ok.
Each class has access to 3 Ascendancy classes, but at the start of Early Access, only 2 per class will be available.
Bon, c'est déjà pas mal. Ok, c'est déjà pas mal.
Ascendancy classes are
déjà pas mal.
unique to each character class, so choose wisely.
C'est déjà pas mal.
They can
Fais chier, mais
drastically
c'est déjà
affect
pas
how
mal.
you build your character. As a sorceress, you could become a Storm Weaver, a master of the elements. Tempest Caller causes elemental storms to be summoned each time you do a critical hit with a spell.
Ok.
With Strike twice, you can stack 2 copies of Shock for more damage. And going deeper into the tree, you can make all your damage types apply Shock. Make a Shock build from any skill.
Ok.
Alternatively, you could become a Chronomancer and command time itself. She literally has the ability to stop time with Time Freeze.
Non, ça paraît
Not only
giga
that, she has
broken.
many other time manipulation
Ça paraît
abilities.
giga broken.
Using Temporal Rift, she can teleport back to a previous location,
Bon, ça a l'air
resetting
mieux,
her life and mana back to what it was. Or with Time Snap, she can reset all her cooldowns and cast all her spells again.
Oh.
On
Wow.
the Warrior, you can choose between the
Tu peux reset tes CD?
Warbringer or the Titan. The Warbringer channels the might of his ancestors to gain tremendous power. Using Answered Call, you can summon ancestral spirits linked to each of your totems. With Jade Heritage, you can encase your body in a protective layer that absorbs all damage until it breaks.
Ok.
Warcaller's Bellow allows you to
Ça va
explode the
l'articuler,
corpses
ouais.
of your enemies. And with Great Wolf's Howl, you can ignore the cooldowns of your war cries.
Oh.
Let all that anger out. The Titan class is all about hitting big. With Earthbreaker, every slam is a chance to create an aftershock.
Oh, ok, c'est stylé.
With Crushing Impacts, every hit becomes a crushing blow, which will allow you to stun your enemies with ease.
Ok, c'est stylé aussi.
With Surprising Strength, you can take advantage of stunned enemies to deal 40% more damage.
Ok, c'est stylé aussi. Non,
As
ok.
a ranger, you might choose to be a Deadeye, an expert markswoman who can take down
trop de trucs
foes
bien.
with style. With
Y a trop de
Endless
trucs bien.
Munitions, every attack gains an extra projectile.
Ok.
With Gathering Winds, she gains a small increase to movement speed with every attack. But be careful,
Oh, c'est
she
un peu
loses them when
similaire.
getting hit. With
peu
Eagle Eyes,
similaire.
she will never miss, allowing you to stop wasting all those passive points on
Ça,
accuracy.
c'est probablement big.
Alternatively, you could become a Pathfinder, the master of flasks and poison.
Mais du coup, avec le changement
She
de
can
classe...
choose from one of several throwable concoctions,
Bizarre.
allowing her to spend her flask charges to throw explosive bottles that deal various types of damage. A bleeding concoction will make your enemies bleed, while a fulminating one can shock your enemies, allowing you to do extra damage. Contagious Contamination allows her to spread poisons between her foes, while Overwhelming Toxicity doubles the number of stacks they can be infected by.
Ok.
Running Assault allows her to move much more quickly while firing, while Relentless Pursuit makes her totally immune to being
c'est
slowed
marrant
by
comme
enemies.
mode, ok.
The Witch can ascend into the
Putain, j'ai envie
Infernalist
de voir
or
tous
the
les
Blood
points.
Mage. As an Infernalist, she can summon a loyal Hellhound companion. The Hellhound sets enemies on
Oh,
fire,
le 20%
as well as
de
taking a
damage
percentage of the
taken
damage
from,
if the Infernalist gets
Et
hit.
la honte, c'est stylé.
With Pyromantic Pact, you can turn your mana into Infernal Flame.
What?
As you cast more spells, the flame builds up, and if it overflows, you'll take damage. Using Bringer of Flame, you'll want to make sure you keep the flames topped up. While your Infernal Flame is above 30%, all damage from you and your minions will ignite enemies. She can also transform into a literal demon.
Holy shit, c'est l'élite.
While in demon form, she takes an increasing amount of damage, but her cast speed and damage increase rapidly as well. So if
What?
you're planning on transforming into a demon, make sure you stack a lot of life recovery. She can also
Okay,
become a
j'aime bien
blood
l'idée.
mage, a master of life and energy.
What?
All blood mages must pay the price of making skills cost life as well as mana. But in exchange, every monster they kill will drop life remnants, which allow them to quickly gain back that life.
Ok.
With
Je sais pas
Crimson
si je connais
Power, she can
celle-ci.
gain large amounts of extra life, and with Vitality
Okay,
Siphon, she
c'est
can
stylé.
use her spells to leech life back as well. Once
L'extra
you've got a
life.
significant amount of life, you can use Gore Spike to make your critical hits deal
What?
incredible amounts of damage.
Ok, ça a l'air lourd.
A monk who
Ok,
is
j'ai
in
rien dit,
tune
ça a
with
l'air
the
lourd.
elements might become an Invoker. With Elemental Expression, the Invoker
Je vais
will
peut-être go
create
vampire.
waves of elemental power
Je vais
each time
peut-être
you
go
do a critical
vampire mode.
strike. With Faith as a choice, you gain the ability to meditate, allowing you to double your energy shield. Choose between I am the Blizzard or I am the Thunder to specialize in cold or lightning. And I Shall Rage will allow you to turn into an unbound avatar.
Oh, ok.
Each time
Ils
you
l'ont mis
apply
là.
a status ailment to an enemy, you gain Unbound Fury. When you have enough, transform into an avatar to deal way more damage and inflict even more elemental ailments.
Ok. Ouais, c'est pas exactement
Some
pareil.
monks choose to reach into the darkness instead.
Ça, c'est le truc de
The
Chayula.
Acolyte of Chayula can exchange their mastery of spirit for darkness, a resource that can be utilized to both absorb and deal damage. The Shroud of Darkness will protect you from all damage incoming, but if you take Grasp of the Void, you will
What?
deal extra chaos damage from all the darkness you have.
Non, ça a l'air
Their
broken.
Dark Pact
Attends.
offers greatly increased resistances to chaos damage and can allow their mana leech to not only happen instantly, but apply to their energy shield as well. Another mode you can take is Waking Dream, which
Attends,
allows
ça a
you
l'air
to see into the
broken.
domain of the Breach Demons.
Attends.
There you will see the Flames of Chayula that can be taken to gain life, mana, and damage.
Attends, ça a l'air giga broken.
Mercenary has a job to do, but which job suits you? You might choose to become a witch hunter. Obsessive Rituals will give you a sorcery ward, allowing you to defend yourself against elemental hits in exchange for less defense against attacks.
Ok.
With Zealous Inquisition, your enemies have a 10% chance to explode on death.
Ooh,
The chance is
okay.
doubled against
Explode.
demons and undead. With Judge, Jury, and Executioner, your initial hit against enemies can deal up to 30% of their life and damage, if you're lucky.
Attends quoi?
Powerful bosses.
Attends quoi?
And with Witchbane, you can break
C'est un
your
queue
enemy's
inversé?
concentration, preventing them from casting spells as often as they would usually do.
C'est un queue
You
inversé.
could also choose to become a Gemling Legionnaire,
Oh, le
enhancing
flow,
your abilities
putain.
by embedding gems
Oh, le
directly
flow.
in your flesh. Integrated Efficiency will give you extra skill slots. Thermatological Infusion gives you extra maximum resistances as you sock up more and more support gems.
Ça va trop vite.
Adaptive
Attends,
Capability
par
allows you to
3
use
gemmes.
any color of gem without worrying about attributes,
Oh.
while Crystalline Potential adds extra quality bonuses to every gem socketed into
12%.
your character. So those are the Ascendancy classes for the start of Early Access.
Ok, j'ai bien réfléchi.
But one thing we haven't talked about yet is how you ascend in the
Le
first
queue
place.
inversé, c'est trop nul. J'ai bien réfléchi, c'est trop nul.
Ascension in Path of Exile 2 requires completion of one of the Great Trials, which you'll find as you progress through the campaign.
Le
Each
Chayula
one
a
is
l'air
associated with
broken
one
par
of the
contre.
major cultures of Rayclast.
Attends, c'est 5 par level.
Located in the Vasteri Plains are the Maraketh,
Et tous les dégâts
a
sont-
culture of
Ouais,
rich
j'arrête de
tales and brutal traditions, who must do whatever
On
it
verra
takes
après.
to survive in the desert. The highest position in Maraketh culture is a Sekima, and it is not a title given freely. All aspirants must complete the Trial of the Sekimas, a grueling gauntlet that will test their strength, will, cunning, and patience. To enter, a warrior of the Maraketh must prove their worth by trapping the soul of a djinn in a coin, and you are no different.
On l'a vu ce boss. Ah, c'est ça.
Once you have earned your coin, it may be placed on the relic altar to begin the trial.
Non, il y avait des slots à rajouter comme Sanctum.
In the Trial of the Sekimas, each room has its own challenges to overcome. In this room, each rare monster you kill will send its blood to the chalice in the center of the room. Once the
En gros,
chalice is
sur la
filled,
traduction
you will be
flippée,
able to proceed.
on tue un mob,
While
il va nous
fighting
donner
monsters in
une
the
pièce
trial,
qui nous permet de
you will need to
rentrer
be
dans,
very careful.
dans un gauntlet,
Each
une
hit will
épreuve.
not only hurt you, but will
Et
damage
chaque
your honor.
étage
The monsters are well
a des objectifs à
telegraphed, so that you
accomplir.
can avoid their attacks, but if you run out of honor, you will fail the trial
Et à
and
la
need to
fin,
find
t'as ton
another coin
ascendance.
in order to try again. It is a good idea to make sure that you are well prepared before challenging the Trial of the Sekimas.
Et là, par exemple, c'est tuer tous les rats.
After each room, you will be rewarded. In this case, you have been given a key that can be used to unlock chests later in the trial. Once you have claimed your reward, you will be shown a map of the rest of the floor and may choose how you wish
C'est
to
Sanctum.
proceed.
Ouais, c'est Sanctum.
Which challenges would you like to
C'est
face?
Sanctum.
And which rewards do you want to claim?
C'est Sanctum.
Some rooms are more dangerous, afflicting you with debuffs that will persist for the entire trial. For example, entering this room will afflict you with Spiked Shell that will cause all monsters in the rest of the trial to have 50% increased life.
Donc tu ascendes
You will
via
want to take care
Sanctum,
if you
c'est
choose
marrant
such a
ça.
path. There are many different challenges and rewards as you journey through the trial. Deadly traps, waves of monsters, and strange artifacts will test your honor.
Sanctum en mêlée, après il faudra voir la gueule
As you
du truc.
progress, you'll be
Il y a
able to
pas de
gain
résolve,
boons
ni rien
from the
là.
djinn, which will help you on your journey. For example, the Sekima's cloak will revive you once if you die, giving you a second shot at a run. One of the rewards you may find is Sacred Water, an extremely
si.
valuable and treasured resource
j'ai
to the
pas vu.
djinn and the Maraketh. Trading it with the djinn will allow you to receive many benefits.
À voir.
You can recover honor, gain additional boons, or remove afflictions. At the end of the floor, you'll
Ah,
find a
selon les
powerful
salles,
boss
ok.
which will truly test your
Oh, c'est fair
limitations.
enough, alors. C'est
In
selon les
order to
salles.
ascend, you will need to defeat him.
À voir à quel point c'est dur après, tu vois.
Having defeated the boss, you've earned the right to ascend. But first, the loot.
Ouh.
The keys you have found may be used to open the various treasures in the vault at the end of
Je trouve
the
que c'est
floor.
beaucoup mieux que le lab, hein.
We only have a single
le lab
bronze
dit
key,
Santum, je suis
so
d'accord.
we'll just have to open one of these small chests. If you want to open the better ones, you'll need silver or gold keys.
À voir comment
Let's
c'est
use the
fait.
altar of
Ça a l'air
ascendancy.
sacrément différent
Your
par
first
rapport à
ascension
Santum.
will allow you to pick
Ah,
your
Blood
class
Mage,
and
alors,
grant
trop
you
cool.
2 points to use in the tree.
Blood
Now,
Mage
there
a
are
l'air
more
trop excitant.
flaws and many more rewards that can be found within the Trial of the Sycamores, but we'll save that for the section on the endgame. For now, let's talk about the second Ascendancy Trial, the Trial of Chaos. In Path of Exile 2, you can choose
c'est pas
whichever trial
pareil.
you like to earn your ascension. Each culture on Rayclast had their
Oh.
own methods to
C'est
ascend.
pas obligé du coup.
If the Trial of the Sycamores is not your kind of playstyle, or you're finding it too difficult, you could try another. You can gain
pas
all your
obligé
ascension
d'ascendre
points
via
with just
ça.
one, or mix and match them. It's up to you. For early access, we will have 2 trials as options, with a 3rd trial coming later for the full release.
Ah.
While exploring the Vaal jungle, you'll discover the Temple of Chaos. Before the Vaal embraced the science of corruption, their civilization worshipped
Attendez, on va
chaos. This ancient trial was once used by the Vaal to test their high priests. A high priest of the Vaal must show willingness to risk everything to gain power. Entry to the
c'est mon
trial
pote, c'est mon
requires a
frère.
token from
Le
a
Trial
strange
Master.
entity
Mon
known
frère.
only as the Trial Master. For those in which he sees potential, he shall inscribe an ultimatum. Many have attempted these trials in search of greatness. Most have perished. Will you be able to defy the odds? Before you begin each chamber, the Trial Master will offer you a reward and a choice. Choose one of 3 tribulations to affect you through the rest of the trial.
Ok, donc
These
c'est en
modifiers
gros,
might beef up the monsters,
ou alors tu fais un
curse the player,
sanctum, ou
or
alors
add
tu fais un
environmental hazards
ultimatum
like turrets or
et
trap
tu ascendes.
rooms.
Tu choisis ce que tu veux faire.
In this case, we'll be picking shocking turrets.
C'est très stylé qui est le choix.
As you
prends
enter the
l'ultimatum
room,
tous
the
les jours
Trial
aussi.
Master will fill it with hazards to test your commitment. In this case, you must destroy all the monsters that fill the room, while dealing with the lightning
Oh, c'est
projectiles
trop
from the shocking
stylé!
turrets.
Non, c'est trop stylé! En plus, c'est même pas vraiment ultimatum en réalité. C'est juste un challenge. Parce que c'est pas... T'es pas dans un cercle en train de tourner. C'est pas vraiment ultimatum. T'es pas confiné dans... je sais pas quoi là.
After each room,
Non,
you'll
c'est
need to make a
trop, ils
choice.
sont trop
Take the
forts.
rewards you have earned so far.
Oh, j'ai trop
or
hâte
go
de
double or
l'endgame là.
nothing.
Tout ce qu'ils ont
Increase your
cook là.
rewards, but take on
J'ai
more
trop hâte
risk.
de savoir ce qu'ils ont fait en endgame.
Each tribulation you add is
J'aime trop
minor
pour
on its
l'instant.
own, but they quickly stack on top of each other and can become overwhelming.
Par contre, t'es obligé de réussir les 10 pour Ascend.
There are
C'est
many
dur,
types
non?
of chambers in the trial. Each will test your resolve in different ways. This one simply requires you survive for a certain amount of time. Another requires you to escort
oui,
the
ok.
stone idol through the level as elevators full of monsters descend to attack you. Should you be able to get through the first 3 chambers, you will face your first boss.
T'as des
The
boss
order of
aussi,
the
du coup.
bosses is
Ok,
random,
bon, si ça doit être
and
plus
combined
simple
with
que
the
ça,
tribulations you have
que-
selected, the fight will never feel the same. After defeating the boss, you may claim your rewards. Of course, there are the items, but you also gain the right to ascend.
Non, c'est trop stylé.
If you already did the Trial of the Sycamores, then you can claim 2 more points to add to your Ascendancy class. Now, it's possible to go much deeper. There are more bosses, rewards, and risks to take, but we'll talk more about that when we get to Endgame.
Oh,
how about we talk about that now?
ok. Y'a pas de soucis.
So far, we've
Pas de
only been
soucis.
showing you footage
Je
from the
t'attends,
campaign.
tu veux, je t'attends.
Some people would argue
À
that the
moins possible.
endgame
Ok.
is where the game truly begins.
Faut que ça.
Something that happens almost every time a new action RPG launches is people saying, there isn't enough in-game content. Well, we want to make sure that in PoE 2, people don't feel that way. And we actually only changed our development priority for this recently. The first 3 acts of PoE 2 already take around 25 hours to complete if you're a new
shit.
player. This is already a pretty significant
Bon, c'est
campaign.
probablement divisé par...
On the other hand, people spend hundreds of
10,
hours in
je pense.
in-game each league. We realized that finishing the rest of the campaign for early access was actually a bad idea. Instead of having acts 4 to 6 in early access, we could concentrate on in-game and make that great. For new players, a 25-hour campaign is already a huge game with lots of content. But for existing action RPG players, what you mostly care about is all the in-game challenges to overcome. So several months ago, we switched the entire
c'était bien le
development team's
6-3 du
focus
coup.
over to making in-game content.
C'était
At the
correct.
start of early access, there will be 50 bosses and around 400 monster types. But the great thing is that the rest of the game is like 80% there. We'll be adding content to roughly double the size of the game during early access and into release. Now, in order to make the endgame happen at the same character level as what it would be after we added the rest of the acts, we've added a second difficulty level called Crawl, where you repeat the campaign with all the monsters and bosses leveled up.
Okay.
And of course,
Fair
new
enough.
rewards. You can kind of think of it as like
Fair
a
enough.
new game plus. It's also a lot faster to get through the content
Fair
the second
enough.
time as your clear
Ça me
speed
va.
increases. That will take you
Ça
to
me
around
va.
level 65, where the endgame
J'aurais préféré
begins.
les 6, mais ça me va.
Once we add the remaining 3 acts, we'll be removing Crawl difficulty, so you'll progress straight from the end of Act 6 to endgame. But what is the endgame?
Ok.
To explain that, I'll hand over to
C'est
Mark.
maintenant.
He can tell you all about it.
Hi, I'm
maintenant.
Mark Roberts, Game Director on Path of Exile 2. Well, one thing that Path of Exile is known for is having a lot of distinct endgame content to choose between.
Hi.
Each endgame mechanic needs to have its own progression system, areas, bosses, rewards, and player power that can only be gained from that content. We are going to be adding a lot more over time, but for Path of Exile 2 we decided to start with 7 distinct systems you can progress through.
Ok, c'est
This
pas mal, hein.
is the Atlas, and it serves
Okay.
as the core of the endgame for Path of Exile 2. It's infinite and expands in all directions. Now, we are not going to
J'aime
spoil
trop
the
la
plot too
présentation.
much here, but corruption from the beast has blighted the land, and your objective
Okay.
is to help fight it. In the center of
Ok, on
the
combat la
Atlas, you will
corruption, quoi.
find the
Dans l'espèce
Ziggurat,
d'Atlas.
a temple in which the Val
Oh, il y a
research
les
the
logos de mécanique de
fundamentals
ligue
of
dessus.
space and time. Here, we can
Regis,
open
la
portals to nearby
expédition, Bridge,
locations
Delirium,
and begin cleansing corruption
Ritual.
and finding resources. In order to power the portal device, we will need waystones. Each waystone has a tier which will determine the level of the monsters that you will face.
Ok, c'est pas des maps, c'est des waystones.
To go to an area, simply click
waystones,
one that
pardon.
is adjacent to an area that you have already
Une pierre de
completed.
passage.
Insert the waystone and click Traverse. Portals
C'est
will
pas des
open,
maps.
allowing you and your party to travel
Pas des
to the
maps.
area you have selected.
Pas des maps.
All the areas in the endgame feel distinct from the locations in the campaign, and we have dialed the randomization up to 11. The monster packs you will face in each map are totally random, and the combination of them can lead to some very interesting combat situations. There are over 400 monster types in early access,
Okay.
and they have a lot of varied and
Qu'est-ce que
interesting
c'est que ça vient de
abilities.
faire?
Depending on which combinations you face, you might find some
Holy.
serious challenges.
Ah, j'ai trop hâte de
In
jouer.
order to cleanse the corruption from the area, you will need to defeat all the powerful rare and unique enemies in it. Once you have done that, the area will be marked as completed and you will be able to travel past it to progress
Faut
deeper
tuer
into
le
the world.
boss et tous les
If you
rares de la map
die,
pour
then the
clear la
map can no
corruption.
longer be run, and you will have to find another way
Oh,
to get to
shit!
the areas behind it.
Si tu
There
meurs,
are
tu peux
also
plus
all
run la
kinds of
map.
other random encounters you
Get
might run into as you play maps.
Hell.
One such encounter are precursor
Allez,
artifacts.
jouer en
These are
LC.
ancient, corrupting monuments that
Si tu meurs,
irradiate the
tu peux pas
monsters
faire la
around
map.
them. The monsters that feed off the corruption are drawn to their power. If you defeat
Oh,
the
let's
monsters
go.
and cleanse the artifact, you will get
GG
a
à
powerful
tous.
temporary buff. Some of the buffs make you faster, others rain lightning or
j'aime
fire around you, and some even give you increased experience or help you find better items. You can also find
j'ai
strong
rien goûté du
boxes.
coup, merde.
These enigmatic chests guard piles of treasure, but are always a trap. Monsters lie in wait to attack you the moment you open
Okay,
it,
strong
and the
box,
boxes
strong
often
box.
have mechanisms
Désolé.
to unleash powerful spells or dangerous
Après, il y a plein de
debuffs.
portails parce que tu
There
peux
are
porter à la
different
haute
types
pour
of
des
strong
pour de loot.
boxes containing different
En
items,
soi.
and you can even use your currency items to craft them on the fly, so you can optimize the content. But be careful of opening one you can't handle.
Qu'est-ce que c'est que cet effect? Holy.
Sometimes you'll discover monsters frozen in essences, solidified crystalline
C'est-
corruption.
c'est
These
essence,
dangerous
ça?
monsters can be broken free.
Il y a
If you
essence,
defeat them,
Strongbox,
the
Blight.
essence they drop can be used to upgrade normal items to magic
Delirium
items with a
Expansion.
guaranteed mod from a category.
Damn.
For example, we could use this one on some boots to ensure a movement speed mod.
Oh, 35.
Rarely, essences will also drop that allow you to upgrade
Attends, le
magic
tiers
to
est
rares,
random.
adding the guaranteed mod.
Et ça peut add un mode garanti. Attends, c'est une dinguerie.
This is incredibly powerful since it allows you to
Wow.
get a second deterministic mod in your crafting projects.
Wow.
Combining these with the currencies that are commonly found in Rayclast for modifying items, and we can get a very nice
C'est
pair of
bleu, hein?
boots
Ouais, mais
indeed.
c'est une régale assurée. C'est un truc de ouf.
Waystones, like all items, can also be crafted using your currency items. Adding prefix mods will improve the rewards, while suffix mods increase danger. The more dangerous a map is, the more waystones will drop.
Ok, c'est...
Adding mods to your waystones is
Upside
key
et
to
downside,
progressing to higher
plutôt.
tiers and sustaining them, but it will require you to take on larger challenges. There are a variety of factors you'll have to consider when crafting your waystones. Some maps will have higher density, some lower, some have more magic and rare chests, or monsters, some are more linear, and others more
Oh,
open. Make
j'aime
sure
bien
you
la rareté
explore
sur les
and think
chests.
about what makes certain maps good if you
Oh,
want to
j'aime
maximize
beaucoup.
your returns.
Oh waouh, j'aime
As you
beaucoup.
cleanse corruption from higher and higher tiers of the Atlas, you will gain points
Oh,
that you
la
can spend
classe.
in the Atlas tree. This
Oh,
tree
wow.
allows you to juice the danger and rewards of all areas in the endgame. You could increase the number of monsters, the number of rares, the number of precursor artifacts or strongboxes, even the quantity of item drops. As you explore the endgame world map, you'll notice various different biomes.
C'est les
From
biomes.
snow-capped mountains
C'est exactement
to
ce dont
dense
je parlais.
jungle valleys. Most
C'est
maps
les
are
biomes.
restricted to certain biomes.
Oh,
As you continue to
c'est
explore
exactement ce que
deeper
je
into
voulais.
the Atlas, there are all sorts of things to discover.
C'est exactement
These
ce que je voulais.
cities are constructed by different
Let's
peoples of
fucking go.
Rayclust and have specific items that can be found there. These strange structures marked on the map don't appear to do anything for now. Perhaps you'll work out how to use them later.
Oh.
You might find unique maps like Untainted Paradise,
Oh,
an
shit.
undisturbed island full of beasts that give an extreme amount of experience. You may even find a lonely
Oh.
man just enjoying his
The
retirement
nameless
who will give you a
sea.
unique item for free. In
Onesie.
addition, you can find special areas that would make a good spot to set up camp. Clear these areas of their hostile inhabitants, and you'll be able to claim them as your own hideout. You can decorate your
Oh.
hideout as you see fit and invite various NPCs to join you there to create your own personal base of operations.
Super. Super.
A great tool for
Down.
exploration are towers. These mysterious precursor constructs are dotted around the Atlas. Completing the tower will reveal a large area around it, allowing you to scout out your next challenge. There are lots
C'est
of things to
trop
find,
stylé.
so keep looking.
C'est trop,
Some
trop,
sections
trop.
of your atlas are influenced by corruption. This adds extra modifiers to the maps in the region, increasing difficulty and rewards. Here, slaying
pas
monsters in
vraiment
close
des maps,
proximity
du
to
coup.
each other will cause the vestiges of corruption within them
Parce que
to
ta
merge
stone, elle est pas
together,
liée à
forming
un
powerful and grotesque
C'est une
abominations.
entrée.
You may have noticed while looking at the atlas that some of the areas have these icons above them. The icon indicates
ouais.
that the area contains some kind of special encounter. This icon indicates that the area has a powerful
ça, ouais.
boss. Because only 1 in 4 maps contain a map
C'est
boss,
ton
we
jeton
are
pour
able to
rentrer,
make
quoi.
them very powerful and very rewarding. These bosses come from the campaign, but have had their difficulty increased with changes to AI and some of their abilities. It's worth
Oh,
noting
yeah.
that because
C'est
you
trop
can
bien.
see where the bosses are, you can choose to take them on or avoid
ouais,
them.
frère.
If you do choose to
C'est quoi
hunt
ce dash?
bosses though, then you will be rewarded with special
Mais de
points
mourir.
for the boss hunting section of the Atlas skill
Arrière
tree.
level,
The
ma
points
boss,
here will allow you to specialize
ma
in
boss,
boss
c'est
killing, giving you much greater rewards for defeating them. For each different type of content in the
skill a l'air trop
endgame, we are
cool,
adding
putain.
specialized trees in
Oh,
order
ce
to make
skill a
it so
l'air
you don't
incroyable.
feel the need to respec your points when you change between different types of content. We will be showing you 7 of these by the end of this presentation, so there is still a lot more to come. Bosses are not the only icon you will see on the Atlas. Let's take a look at
c'est
one of the
ouf, en
endgame
vrai.
systems, Breach. If
Okay.
you played PoE 1, you might be familiar with Breach. For PoE 2, we have created sequels to several PoE 1 leagues. While the mechanic is familiar, the monsters, bosses,
Ils ont fait des
rewards,
suites
and
aux mécaniques
progression
qu'on a
are
sur
all
PoE 1.
new. A breach is a tear in the fabric of reality. Opening it will allow you to see the demons and otherworldly monstrosities that lie in wait on this other
Les
plane
breaches
of
sont des tiers,
existence. By engaging with a breach, you'll create a bridge between their world and Rayclust. In order to keep the breach open, you will need to kill the demons that pour forth. The faster you can kill the monsters, the more monsters you will fight, and the more loot you will find. You can also
c'est toujours le
find
même
clasped
principe,
hands that will open and drop more
Plus tu
items
tues,
if you
plus
run
tu-
over them.
plus tu
These can
rentabilises.
be a good boost to the rewards of the breach, so keep an eye out.
Enfin,
One of the
ok,
rewards
juste
that you
les
may
tiers, quoi.
find while fighting monsters from Breach are tablets.
What?
Tablets are special items that can be used with precursor towers to add more encounters to the Atlas. Breaches will drop breach tablets. Clicking on a completed tower will allow you to consume the tablet to add more breaches to areas within range of the tower. This
Wow.
makes all the content in the Atlas
Okay.
self-sustaining. Want to do more breaches? Find the tablets, add them to your towers, get more breaches, getting more tablets. Soon your atlas will be covered in otherworldly domains. In addition, like all items in PoE, you can craft them. Use your currency to add mods to your tablets, allowing you to upgrade all the breaches in range. Tablets can have up to 2 mods. These mods do things like adding extra rare monsters, extra class hands, or even monster density of breaches, allowing you to keep them open longer. Often, you will find multiple towers near to each other with overlapping areas of effect. This can allow you to really juice the mechanic by stacking the mods from multiple tablets.
Et du coup, si tu rolls plusieurs fois sur la même
your
map...
fight to hold the breach demons at bay, you may want to use the powers of their world against them. Each endgame mechanic always has player power that can only be gained from that mechanic, and Breach is no different. In Breach, you will find catalysts, items that can increase the quality of rings and amulets by improving specific mods. You can also find Breach rings, a special base type that can have its quality improved by catalysts up to 50%. In this case, you could create a ring with around 170 life. Breach rings can become some of the strongest rings in the game, giving you some good motivation to face the demon hordes.
Mais tu peux les crafter en plus,
each
c'est pas écrit que c'est pas
endgame mechanic
modifiable.
needs to have a pinnacle endgame encounter. While killing Breach monsters, you may find Breach splinters. Collect enough of these and you'll be able to create a Breach stone. Using a vile technology called the Realm Gate, you can use your Breach stone to access their domain and bring the fight to them. In this twisted domain, you will find nothing but a single massive breach.
Mais frère, c'est une seule mécanique!
Hordes of breach inhabitants.
Comment ils ont pu faire leur truc de sorcellerie des 4? C'est une seule mécanique!
And should you be fast enough, you will be able to fight their leader, Zesht. We that are one.
Oh, c'est trop stylé! Oh, j'ai trop hâte, putain! Hey, fuck Dofus! Fuck Dofus! C'est bon, j'ai même plus envie de faire le leak start Dofus! Oh, c'est trop stylé! J'ai même plus envie! Oh putain, c'est mort!
This is just one of the pinnacle encounters of PoE2. We won't be showing the rest of them, so you will have to discover them for yourself.
Waouh, c'est un truc de ouf!
This is some of the hardest content we have ever made.
Ouais, c'est le fameux qui donne des frags de tout qu'on n'a jamais vu.
But that's not all. We still have the progression system. Defeating Zesht will give you points to allocate into the breach section of the Atlas tree. Allocating these points will make breaches and the breach domain even harder, but will give you more rewards. The small nodes will increase the difficulty of the twisted domain, while the large nodes have more specific bonuses. For example, this node adds more clasped hands to your breaches, and adds a pack of magic monsters that can guard them. Get some more points and you can allocate Waking Nightmare, which will double the number of splinters you get from clasped hands, and inflict you with a mysterious debuff. In order to earn more points, you will need to defeat Zesht at a higher difficulty, and some rewards from Zesht can only be found by increasing the difficulty of the Twisted Domain above certain thresholds. Defeating Zesht at difficulty 4 will be a challenge indeed, but there are many more threats and breakthroughs.
C'est genre les Uber Boss. En gros, il y a une version Uber
Ritual
entre
altars
guillemets.
are sacrificial sites built by the mysterious king in the mists. If you encounter this symbol on the Atlas, then you know that the area contains ritual altars.
Okay.
Ritual altars demand tribute. Every monster you slaughter in the circle will feed the altar. After the sacrifice, touch it to begin the ritual. The monsters you just killed will be resurrected by the King of the Mist's dark magic, and you must fight to survive. The tribute you have offered to the altar can be spent to buy powerful items, but they can be expensive. To gain more tribute, you will want to find more altars. Each successive ritual you do within an area will spawn the monsters revived by the previous ones, in addition to the ones you sacrifice next to it. By the end of an area, you'll be fighting a truly imposing number of foes, but will have a significant amount of tribute to spend. One of the rewards you can buy with tribute are omens. These are special items that allow for metacrafting. Crafting items that affect other crafting items.
Oh, wow.
Have an item with good prefixes but bad suffixes? This omen will help you to remove the mod you don't want, while keeping the ones you do. There are a bunch more of these with different effects, but we will leave them for you to discover. Now don't forget that
c'est
Ritual
comme les
will
Eldritch
also drop
Currency, en
tablets
fait.
which can be used to specialize into
Les
getting
Omens,
more
c'est les
Ritual.
Eldritch
If
Currency.
you want to get to the pinnacle boss of Ritual, then you will probably want to use them. They can also be crafted to grant mods, making your rituals more rewarding. The pinnacle encounter of Ritual
Wow.
is the King in the Mists. Feared by the
Okay.
Asmeri people, he is said to have brought eternal darkness to the Wildwood. We won't show the encounter, but just like Breach, there are a range of unique items you can get for defeating him, and you will gain points in the Ritual section of the Atlas Tree. Some maps have been touched by insanity. A mysterious entity
miroir
has
du
taken a
délire.
special interest in you. Step through the looking glass and you will
J'espère qu'ils ont
find your
changé le filtre.
nightmares coming to life.
Pitié.
When you touch a
Changez le
mirror,
filtre.
the mists of Delirium will spread out across the area, infecting your mind. You must stay within the mist to maintain the nightmare, which is as profitable as it is terrifying. Everything you kill will increase the rewards that drop. However, the deeper into the mist you travel, the
Oh, il est
stronger
trop
the
stylé, le
monsters
ring.
are. Be careful not to overstay your welcome. Rare and unique enemies will become vessels
On voit
for
pas grand-chose,
terrifying demons, who will manifest out of them to unleash powerful attacks on you.
Ah, pas grand chose.
The mist also offers a strange crafting material, distilled emotions. By
Distilled
combining these
emotion.
emotions, you are able to instill your amulet with a notable from the passive skill
Oh,
tree.
c'est les
This is like
anoints.
gaining an extra passive point for free
Oh, les
attached
anoints,
to your
ils sont
gear.
dans
They are
Delirium.
also particularly great because you don't have to traverse the tree to get them, allowing you to get off-class bonuses that would normally be much harder to
Bye
get.
bye, Blight!
Distilled
Bye
emotions
bye!
can also be used to instill your endgame maps,
Adieu.
applying Delirious to them and adding additional difficulty and rewards,
Tu peux
allowing you to
anointer
further
tes-
juice your
tes
endgame maps.
Waystone.
The tablets you can find from Delirium can be used to further improve it, increase pack
Okay.
size, make the fog dissipate slower,
Fuck
or improve
Blight.
your progress
Woohoo!
towards the
Ça
pinnacle
dégage,
encounter of
Blight.
Delirium. Speaking of which, every now and then you will find simulacrum splinters. The mysterious entity
Oh, wow,
will create
c'est stylé.
strange encounters based on warped versions of
magnifique.
your own memories. Monsters and simulacrums come in waves that get progressively more difficult. You will receive loot at the end of each wave, and you will have to make
Après,
the
c'est un
decision to
simulacrum
leave
classique,
now
quoi.
or continue on, facing up against
Il y a
even
3
tougher
mobs, par
foes from the
contre.
mist.
Le mec sur la white
The
green,
bosses you will face as you get deeper into a simulacrum are truly terrifying. If you can complete a simulacrum, you will gain points for the Delirium section of the Atlas skill tree. Next up, we have
J'ai envie de voir les
Expedition.
nodes. Putain, on voit pas.
Occasionally, while clearing corruption,
Fuck.
you will encounter these Kalguran settlers. The Kalgurans have discovered ancient burial sites with lost Verisium artifacts,
Ouais, tu peux trade,
and they
bien
want
sûr.
you to help dig them up
C'est comme
with
PO actuellement.
explosives.
Si
The
t'es SSF,
Kalgurans have marked the locations
il
where the
faudra tout,
relics
mais
can
bon.
be found. Place explosives as
Logique, quoi.
best you can to dig up as many as possible.
Shiny
There is
coin
just
out
one
there.
problem. Corruption has brought the corpses of their ancestors to life, so you might have to do a little cleanup before you can reclaim the
Pour l'instant, ça a l'air
artifacts.
classique. On va voir les rewards.
You can also find remnants, the destruction of which will further anger the restless dead. Each one you blow up will make the subsequent monsters more powerful, but also more rewarding. Danig, Rog, Tujin, and Gwenin will exchange the artifacts for useful items and
Oh, c'est pas
runic
sympa,
magic. You can also find tablets to increase the number of expeditions
tablets?
and the rewards. This one increases the radius of explosives,
Ah oui, oui, oui.
while this
Ok.
one
Oui, les
increases
tablettes,
the
ce
number
sont
of
les
remnants you
On
will
va
find.
faire les maps.
Eventually, you might discover a logbook. These are special maps full of
Oh.
buried treasure and relics.
J'espère qu'ils vont
Essentially,
changer le
one
logbook.
giant dig site.
Agi Peninsula.
Here, you
donc
can
déjà, c'est
create
pas
an
les mêmes zones.
extremely long chain of explosives and go through a very high number of remnants. But be careful,
l'air très
many
classique,
remnants have mods that can really break
Les
your
rewards
build,
sont pas
so
pareils,
you will
peut-être?
probably want to avoid these ones. If you add too many remnants, you could easily make the encounter harder than you can handle. There are all sorts of interesting things buried under the ground in logbooks. You might find dripping caves and hidden pirate caches. But the most powerful encounter is
Delve, bah,
Olroth,
Delve en soi,
the
c'est le
ancient
nouveau
undead
mapping
commander
system en soi.
of the Knights of the Sun. Defeating him
que
will
c'est pas
grant
que vers
you
le bas.
unique rewards, as
C'est dans
well
tous les
as
sens.
points to spend in the expedition section of the Atlas tree.
En fait, c'est le
So
grid
those are the
de...
in-game systems on the Atlas, but we are not done yet.
Oh,
the
oh,
trials we talked
oh,
about
oh,
earlier
oh.
have much more content when you get to Endgame 2. Just like the other endgame systems, they also have progression mechanics, unique rewards, and player power that can only be gained from
Pas eu
them.
Abyss, hein.
As you get higher level coins for the trial of the Sycamores, you will unlock more floors to explore.
Ah, ça a l'air chaud, en fait.
Each floor has its own challenging
Ça a l'air
rooms
chaud, en fait, non?
and a floor boss that you will need to kill.
Vas-y. Et Adi, putain.
There are 4 floors in total, leading to another pinnacle boss at the end of the last floor, which can only be accessed at endgame. The Trial of the Sekhmet is where you'll find jewels, which you can socket into your tree. These are like passives that you can craft with your currency items. They can be really powerful as they allow you to stack modifiers that may not be easily accessible on the tree normally. This jewel gives lightning damage and shock chance, for example. There are quite a few jewel sockets on the tree, so it's possible to gain a lot of power here. There are also other types of jewels that don't provide any bonuses themselves, but affect other passives surrounding them. This jewel increases the effect of small nodes and radius by 25%. With careful placement in the tree, you could get a significant amount of power from it. There are also unique jewels available with very interesting effects, but you will have to find those for yourself. In order to push further into the trial and uncover the secrets of the Maraketh, you will want to take advantage of its progression system, relics. Relics are items that can be placed in the relic altar as you start the trial. They give special bonuses that affect the trial, making it easier and increasing its rewards. Of course, you can craft these with your currency items, making them even stronger. If you can complete the entire trial overcoming all 4 floors, the final boss will reward you with one of many unique relics. These relics will be consumed when used on your next run, but can reward you with unique and powerful items. For example, this is the Last Flame. If you use it, you will have only 1 honor for the entire trial, so you will need to do a completely hitless run. The Trial of Chaos also extends into the endgame. As you gain inscribed ultimatums of higher and higher levels, the number of chambers that you can go through increases. In true Vaal style, this allows you to take even more risks for even more rewards. At endgame, you can progress through up to 10 chambers with 3 bosses on a single run. Stacking 10 tribulations on top of each other will make this a significant challenge, but it's worth it. The Trial Master will tempt you with items of the Vaal Empire, such as Vaal Orbs. Vaal Orbs are powerful crafting items that corrupt your gear with random mysterious outcomes. Corruption prevents an item from being modified further, so it has to be the last step of your craft, but it's also the most impactful one. For example, if you use one on your body armor, it might add a new powerful enchantment, or it might re-roll up to half of its modifiers. Vaal Orbs also have the ability to add a socket, allowing you to bypass the normal restriction of how many sockets an item can have. A body armor could get up to 3 sockets this way, allowing for a significant number of mods. Vaal Orbs can even modify uniques. Adding enchantments or sockets to uniques can make them incredibly powerful, but there is a good chance that you will break them as well. The Trial Master will also occasionally offer you soul cores. Originally formed by Chaos, the Vaal sought to replicate soul cores through human sacrifice rituals and blood magic to power their civilization. Soul cores are powerful socketable items, with mods that cannot be obtained from regular runes. Like all endgame content, there is of course a pinnacle boss. The final chamber will drop keys to this mysterious door. Some say this is where the Trial Master himself resides. Perhaps you are willing to take the risk to find out. Had enough yet? Because there is still just one more thing. The most difficult content in Path of Exile 2. While mapping, you might come across this fortress that has emerged from underground, surrounded by an enormous maze riddled with danger. Is the maze preventing something from getting in, or something getting out? This fortress is of ancient origin, and its construction has similarities to the towers and tablets that you have been using on your journey through the endgame. It is clear from the entrance that there are 3 keys required to enter. Local factions are vying for access to the fortress in order to seize the power they believe will be inside. Each of the faction's leaders have managed to get their hands on one of the keys, so you will need to defeat them. Each faction is led by an Uber-Act boss.
J'avais parlé de quoi? Des
factions. J'avais parlé de factions. J'ai parlé de factions de viande, pas de rien. De rien. Be careful. If you fail against either of the lieutenants, or to kill the leader, they will move on, and you will need to find them again. Kill all the Uber bosses and you will gain access to the fortress. We aren't going to spoil it, as we can't wait to see you guys attempt it for the first time. But is there a tree you get points in after killing it? Of course there is. This is Path of Exile. There is always another tree.
So these are your challenges for PoE 2. As you can see, this project is crazy huge. Way bigger than even we expected when we started out. But how do you gain access? Well, during early access, you'll need a key to get in. To thank our existing PoE supporters who have spent more than $480 US, we'll be giving you guys a key for the PC version for free. Anyone else who wants one can get one by
Enfin,
purchasing
c'est
one of the
une
new early
dinguerie.
access supporter packs that have just
C'est
been
une
released to the store.
dinguerie. Il y a tellement de choses qu'on n'a pas vues encore.
Then you can get a
J'ai
key in the
tellement de
$30 early
questions.
access pack. The pack also comes with $30
j'ai
of
tellement
points
de
to spend
questions.
in the MTX
Oh, c'est
store.
incroyable.
But we also have a variety of other
Oh,
supporter
je vais
packs
payer,
filled
je
with
paye,
exclusive
je paye.
microtransactions,
Je
points
paye.
to spend in the store, and even physical
paye.
items. The cosmetics can be used right now in PoE 1 and in Path of Exile 2 when early access
Je
starts.
paye.
Most of this footage has been recorded in Path of Exile 1, since that's where you can use them immediately. The Lord of Ogham supporter pack contains a cosmetic armor set befitting of the Count of Ogham himself. There is also a matching back attachment, which has an alternate variant depicting the influence of corruption. Also in this pack, you can find a portal formed of the rusted armor of the fallen soldiers in the Red Veil of Ogham, and the offspring of a vicious crowbell boss found in
Oh
the
non,
hunting
me dis pas qu'il fait
grounds.
plein de bruit lui
This
aussi.
one doesn't look so vicious though.
Oh non, s'il fait du bruit en permanence, ça va être chiant. Oh non,
On
pas
top
un
of
autre
that, you receive
gobelin.
the Iron Count's
Ça
Y-Hander
commence.
to apply to your one-handed or two-handed swords. For those who are wanting to decorate your hideouts with fond memories and tales of Path of Exile's history, you will also get a series of hideout statues. This pack contains the statue of Hillock. For Path of Exile 1's closed beta, each pack
Oh,
contained
kiwi.
a true New Zealand icon, the Kiwi. Following this tradition, all packs in the series will also contain a new themed Kiwi pet. The pet will loyally follow you into battle, but run away at the first sign of trouble. Become the ruler of the desert with the King of the Faradin supporter pack. Show your mastery of traversing the sands of the Vasteri Plains. The body armor will allow you to glide along the ground with ancient sand magic. Now each armor set comes with body armor, boots, gloves, and helmet. But the boots are covered in sand. If you'd prefer to show them off, you can turn the gliding off if you want.
Enfin, on s'en fout de ce jeu, non?
The accompanying back attachment equips you with two
Ouais,
powerful pillars that can control and manipulate lightning.
C'est
They
quoi
will
cette
periodically
merde là?
release their energy in a powerful blast while in town, and hover in a circle around you, arcing lightning between them, forming a barrier
Ils
of
ont parlé
energy.
des hideouts un peu, ouais.
Replace the appearance of
C'est
any
vieux
bow with the
dead game,
Faradin's
là.
glory skin. Or replace the appearance of a spear with the Tyranny's end spear skin. This spear skin can be applied to staves and war staves in Path of Exile 1. If you want to truly show your worth as a king of the Faradin,
À la fin
then
de
you
leur liste, tu vas voir le
definitely
son,
need your
je pense que
trusty
tu vas en
moving
standard,
entire city fortress known as the Dreadnought to travel across the Vasteri Plains. In Path of Exile, you can decorate your hideout however you like, and it's no exception here.
Vas-y,
It
en vrai,
comes with a
c'est un
variety
truc
of
de fou.
thematic elements
J'arrive
to
toujours
use,
pas à y croire.
or use decorations
En
from
fait, je
elsewhere in the
m'attendais à
game.
ce que ce soit big,
Additionally, you will get the Deshret's Blessing level up
mais
effect.
c'est vraiment bien plus big que ce que je pensais.
The
Je
king of the
pensais qu'on allait
Faradin
avoir
Kiwi
un
pet.
Pinnacle, un aperçu de l'endgame, tu
And
vois,
last
avec
but
les
not least, a
bases.
statue depicting the Val
Je m'attendais
Oversoul from Path
tellement
of
pas
Exile 1.
autant. What?
For those who
C'est un
don't know
truc de
how
ouf.
supporter
En vrai,
packs
par
work,
contre, j'aurais bien aimé.
each pack comes with all of the
Je
cosmetics
vais
from
faire
the
le
previous
difficile.
tier, so you'll get all the
J'aurais bien
items from the
aimé
Lord of
une
Ogham
ascendance
supporter
en
pack as
plus
well.
sur toutes les classes, c'est bon, c'est pas grave, c'est pas grave, c'est pas grave.
The Thaumaturge of the
c'est pas
Val
grave,
supporter
on
pack
pardonne,
features
on
an
pardonne,
armor
c'est pas
set
grave.
and back
C'est pas
attachment
grave, c'est
themed
pas
around the
grave,
Val and their pursuit of science
C'est
and
pas grave, c'est
progress.
déjà ça, oh, ça va.
You can find the Soul Core weapon effect in this pack, which causes
L'endgame,
thaumaturgic
par
energy
contre.
harnessed from sacrifice to spill from your weapon. This pack also
L'endgame,
contains
hein, c'est tellement
Doyani's idol.
massif.
It replaces the default
J'ai compris,
appearance of
ouais,
any
mais
foci
du coup,
to
ça,
an
j'ai acheté
ancient
Premium
relic
Sauce,
once
regardez.
used by
Oui,
Doyani.
oui,
And this can be
regardez.
applied to shields in Path
Shut
of
up,
Exile
take
1.
my money.
That's not the only
trop
Val
massif.
weapon you'll find. It also contains the Wand of the Thaumaturge skin.
Il y a beaucoup de
And the Royal Sacrifice
recyclage,
Dagger skin.
mais je suis d'accord, c'est du recyclage.
You wouldn't think to put sacrificial gems on a Kiwi,
Mais.
but the Val did. Thaumaturge of the Val supporters will receive the Thaumaturge of the Val Kiwi
Les
pet.
boss fights, c'est pas du
And the
recyclage.
Statue of Dominus.
Les mécaniques
This is also
en
the
elles-mêmes.
first pack in the series with a physical item.
Après oui,
When
l'idée de
purchasing this pack,
l'expédition,
you'll receive a Path of Exile 2
beige,
logo
la
t-shirt.
base,
But if
on
you
est
don't
d'accord,
want
c'est la
one,
même.
you can opt out and return for additional points to spend in the store. Becoming a
Mais
Warlord of the
ce à quoi
Kardui
on
supporter will
s'attendait, quoi,
grant
hein.
you an armor set and back attachment adorned in jade carvings and iridescent
ce
feathers
à quoi on
resembling
s'attendait.
power. Enough to even impress the ancestral gods, specifically Tukohama, the Kardui god of war.
Je suis pas fan de ceci.
Overkill, you say? I think the Kardui people would disagree. Why not drop a gigantic totem on rare enemies you slay to crush them to a pulp? Replace your crafting bench in your hideout with the Ancestral Canoe crafting bench,
Oh, ça,
where
c'est énorme.
Ancestral Chief Marta will summon a giant canoe manned by
Ça,
Kardui
par contre,
warriors
c'est
to aid in your crafting desires.
C'est quoi ce jeu?
You'll also get a pair of weapon skins.
Non, ouais, pour de vrai, pourquoi il showcase
Equip
sur
Akoya's
pas sur
felling
PoE?
axe skin to your one-hand or two-handed axes, or Tukohama's crusher to your one-handed or two-handed maces.
Il a des raquettes, j'avoue.
A true Karui warlord is always accompanied by
Il
their
a des
trusty Kiwi.
raquettes.
Equipped with armor and harnessing ancestral magic, they make the perfect
Ah, c'est trop
sidekick.
cool. Oh, ouais, j'avoue que celui-là, je le trouve
Once
pas
one
ouf.
of the most feared beings in Rayclast, Malachi was slain by a powerful
Félix
exile.
Lebrun,
May the statue
meilleur joueur de
commemorate the
ping-pong.
virtue of exile's past, present, and of the future.
Dual wielding.
Of course, it's not all about dressing up in game. You'll want to look good in real life too. By becoming a warlord of the Kurui supporter, you'll also get a Path of Exile 2 hoodie. Our final tier of supporter pack in this series is the Liberator of Rayclast supporter pack.
Ça, ok, ça.
The
j'aime bien,
Liberator of
j'aime entendu.
Rayclast armor set and back
Peut-être pas les
attachment
mettre,
come
mais
made
tout le
with
reste,
the
j'aime beaucoup.
finest materials in Rayclast, and shattered glass mosaics suspended in divine power. Set up your base of operations in the Beacon of Salvation hideout.
Oh, wow.
Why restrict yourself to just one island when you can liberate more? The
Damn,
Beacon of
c'est
Salvation
sick.
hideout comes equipped with your own collection of small islands and personal operators of boats that you can use to row between them. Just walk to the piers, click a boat to enter, and navigate as you choose. Decorate each
Okay.
island as you see fit to best represent your well-earned hideout. Everyone in your hideout can use their own boat. Why not have some races? You can also get the Window to Twilight portal effect, a beautiful mosaic piece of art that shatters and reveals a gateway to your desired destination as you
Sick.
approach it. As you walk away, the glass magically reforms back to its original form.
Ok.
Rule and Style, the
Très
throne of
stylé.
the ruler map device. Sure, this map device can create portals to endgame maps, but it also comes with a throne you can sit on to oversee your growing kingdom. Look down
Non,
on the
c'est
plebeians
sûr.
running your maps.
Ça, c'est sûr.
Being the Liberator, though, is not just about sitting on your throne all day. If you do decide to join the fight yourself, you can leave a High Priest in charge. your
Attendre
second
les
in command.
trades comme ça, c'est clair.
Liberator of Rayclast supporters will also get a set of varied weapon skins. The Light of Divinity Scepter skin, the Deliverance crossbow skin, the Justice flail skin, and the Redemption shield skin. Once again, you'll have an accompanying Kiwi,
Oh,
and
le
of course a
petit
statue
kiwi.
depicting one of the most iconic events in Rayclast's history.
C'est trop choupi un kiwi,
The
non?
battle between a powerful exile and Kitava, the Insatiable. With the help of two deities, Sin and Innocence, the exile was able to defeat him once and for all. This supporter pack also contains the Path of Exile 2 art book. This 215-page full-color art book includes a huge amount of amazing concept art and lore
Tu me l'offres,
produced
c'est
during the
480
long and
$.
exciting journey of Path of Exile 2's development.
Sérieux? Ok.
And finally, Path of Exile has a tradition of letting the community participate in designing game features. For Path of Exile 2, we'll be adding the Twilight Order foil reliquary. By becoming a Liberator of Rayclast supporter, once Path of Exile 2 is released, you will be able to select any unique item you have found and be able to drop it from the reliquary. Once players have submitted their items, keys to the reliquary will start dropping, and other players will be able to find foil versions of uniques that you have submitted, along with a message for the lucky player.
Ok.
The more players submit the same unique, the more chances there will be for the reliquary to drop them, so choose wisely.
Je vais pas
Now,
répéter ce
almost
qu'on a
all
dit
of
sur
these
la
items are
reliquary,
available to
mais
use in PoE 1 right now.
j'aimerais bien qu'il y ait pas
There are a
les
few
items de
exceptions
bug.
where the item class clearly doesn't exist, such as crossbows or flails. And there are also a few microtransactions on weapon types that are unavailable in PoE 2 at the start of early access.
Ouais, voilà, j'espère qu'il y a pas
Once
les
classes
boss,
that use those weapon types are added, those microtransactions will be available to use. If you can't decide which supporter pack to choose yet, you can always start with the early access supporter pack that just includes a key and some points to spend in the store.
Ouais, on l'avait
Then
quand
you
même
can upgrade to
541.
any of the following tiers at a later date.
Surtout que là, les gens
These
commencent à
supporter
partir. Là,
packs
c'est
will be
fini, là, il y a eu
available
le
for
gros, là.
purchase throughout early access. We'd really like to thank you for your ongoing support. Without you guys, Path of Exile 2 could not have happened. Now, I'm sure you guys have a lot of questions. Stick around, because coming up next, we have a live Q&A with Ziggy D.